It is always a privilege and a joy to speak with people who bring the magic of conference alive. So joining us now here on Forum TV is Ogden Payne. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So is your degree in journalism? How did you enter into this field?
Yeah, accidentally
Okay.
it was. So, well, mass communication is
Okay.
what I majored in.
At what university?
Texas State
All right.
University.
Shout out to Texas State.
Yeah. So the thing is, I initially started off, I was doing marketing and quickly realized how much math was involved. And I said, okay, I don't think I want to take that amount of math. So I was like, I will gladly do 2 or 3 or 4 years of Spanish if I can get a mass comm degree, because I could get through that quicker. But it was completely kind of by accident. I quote unquote stumbled into journalism by accident. I knew somebody who wrote at Forbes, and he thought I would be a great addition as a contributor, and that just so happened to coincide with what I was doing in college. But yeah, it wasn't intentional. I wish it was that strategic, but it definitely was not.
So you were a contributor for Forbes while you were in school.
Yes.
I wish
Yes.
I was that smart.
No,
Because I majored in radio television. My degree is
Okay.
in broadcast journalism, and I guess I was so caught up in, just living the college life.
Yeah.
I wasn't a forward thinker. And so
Yeah.
kudos to you for that.
Well, thank you. Well, I can't say that it was anything that I, again, thought through. It was, when I graduated high school, I still lived at home for probably longer than I probably should have, but I was trying to figure out my way, right?
But that's the way to do it.
Looking back, yes. Now that I'm out on my own and doing my own thing, yes. But in the time when you're watching everybody go out and live the college lifestyle, and you're like, man, am I doing the right thing? It did not feel that way at the time. Now looking back, I'm very grateful. But yeah, no, I graduated. It took me a long time to graduate because I wanted to also pay my way through college. My parents were very intent on me graduating without student debt. At the time, I didn't understand the importance of that, but now I see that, right, completely see that. So it took me a little bit of time. So if there is anybody who's, in their 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th year of college, it's totally okay, because things start to pan out, or at least they did for me. So.
Well, hopefully they're still on scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yes. Yeah.
So who was your first notable interview?
Oh, what a great question. I don't know if they weren't necessarily my first, but they were the one that I think I hold very dearly.
Okay.
Nipsey Hussle.
Oh.
Maybe
that just touched
a
me.
year before he passed.
That's a privilege.
It was great because I've always been interested in music. It took me a little bit of time to realize that I was more interested about the business side of music, and at the time, Nipsey really embodied
Yes.
that, right? That entrepreneurial spirit, and I loved it. And so, I remember he was so down to earth, and when we did the interview, a lot of times, as journalists, you'll get the publicist's information. The publicist will call you and connect you with the artist. Nipsey called me himself. It was like he just called me directly, and I answered the phone, and he was like, "Yo, are we doing this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like maybe an hour of an interview, and it was just absolutely incredible. And then, so I think that's probably the one that means the most to me, just from culturally, was great. And then the other one that means a lot to me, I don't know, this is probably an old head answer, but Anthony Hamilton.
Oh, I love Anthony Hamilton.
Man, Anthony Hamilton was like, I don't know, that was like the Coming From Where I'm From album was like the soundtrack to my life at 17 to 25 for some reason. And yeah, I was finally able to interview him and just tell him how much of a fan I was. And so those are the two that I probably hold really, really closely.
It's very interesting. You just did a panel discussion with Stacey Abrams. You moderated that, and
Yeah.
it was phenomenal.
Thank you.
The questions were so thought-provoking, and it seemed as if you were very intentional on having very strategic, pointed questions that netted some really thought-provoking answers.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I see from your bio you have interviewed everyone from the entertainment sector to government.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you more so lean in terms of what is important to you?
That's a great question. Both, actually. I think they both fit different sides of me, right? I think the entertainment side is what I grew up on, right? It's culturally what I understand, culturally what I connect to. But then from the political side, it was so important for me to get outside of my box, right, and to try something different. I mean, to be honest, I was even, when I did the one with did the interview with Laura Coates a couple years ago, I was very nervous, because I was like, this isn't my space, I don't, you don't want to go up there and who's this guy?
And bomb,
yeah, and bomb, and what, he's asking questions I can find out on Google.
Then they never invite you back.
Yeah, I never come back, right? So, it was that interview meant a lot to me, and then to be invited back a couple of years later meant even more to me because I was like, okay, maybe I sound like I know what I'm doing, right? But no, I mean, I think the interview that we had today was so important, especially given the times that we're living in. And Stacey essentially just took what I was talking about and brought it up to another level, right? I think everybody in the room left feeling so motivated and so empowered. And as a moderator, that's all I can ask for, is just that people in the room got something out of it. So,
what do you hope people will be able to take away from your journalism in this time of uncertainty, in a space where things are very volatile?
Yeah.
And during a time where we're seeing a lot of very swift change that is stark and hard to digest.
For me, I think the number one thing is understanding that you have opportunity, despite what's being said and despite what's being thrown at you, there are opportunities for you to come and affect change and impact change. It doesn't always have to be the flashiest thing in the world, right? You don't have to have a post that goes viral. You don't have to have a rally that has 100,000 people there, right? As long as you are somebody who is very intentional and you're paying it forward, what someone did for you, you do for someone else, you do for someone else. That to me is all that matters, right? Like a lot of the times when I was writing, I loved the educational angle because I remember when I was wanting to be in music, I wanted to learn as much as possible. So the way that I felt like I could give back was let me write something that might be able to help somebody else. If it took me 10 years to find my path in the music industry or whatever it was that I was trying to do, well, hopefully maybe it takes the next person 5, and then maybe it takes the person after that 2.5, and then the next person after that a year, right? That is what I'm hoping will happen when someone sees a Stacey Abrams, or they listen to a Stacey Abrams, or they see what she's done, or they see the impact that someone like that is having, that Stacey's journey took this amount of time. Okay, let me take what she's saying and apply it to my life, and hopefully it starts to have all these half-lives going down. That's really what I hope the legacy is for myself.
That seems like a great place to end.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contributions to conference and here at Forum TV. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.